The Bible talks about stones, living stones and dead stones, and also Jesus as the chief cornerstone. Today we're going to read from Psalms 118, beginning at verse 21. I will praise you, for you have answered me, and have become my salvation. The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. This was the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Then we're going to go to Ephesians Chapter 2 and begin reading at verse 19. Now therefore you are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God, having been built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom also the whole building, being fitly formed together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord, in whom you are also being built together for a dwelling place of God in the Spirit. So today we're talking about stones, and here's Brother Arie to explain to us what the Bible means about stones.
You know, stone. Everywhere in Israel around you, you see stones. Maybe it is the hardest thing that tourists remember. They ask, why you have so many stones? The land of Israel, land of mountains, of rocks and stones. Not like the land of Egypt and the land of Mesopotamia, Babylon, Assyria, which are what we call alluvial countries, full of soil. Now, what is the biggest meaning of this? When God called Abram and Moses, both of them called them to the mountains of Israel. And as God says, I bring you to a good land, in Deuteronomy chapter 8, to a good land. And he describes the land, and between the descriptions, look what he says. A land out of whose hills you can dig copper, right? A land, and he says, whose stones are iron. What is the meaning, a land whose stones are iron? In Genesis chapter 11, we hear how the story of Babylon started, the Tower of Babylon. The people there living in an area which is alluvial, they didn't have stones, but they wanted to build a tower that will reach heaven. So what they did, they took and built and prepared bricks instead of stone. What is the problem with a brick? A brick, if you take it and you throw it on the ground, it will break into pieces. Maybe the word brick and break connected in English, I don't know. But look what happens. A stone doesn't break. People living in Mesopotamia, in Egypt, those people that worked building the pyramids, you know, they got the stones from far away on rafts on the Nile River. Stone will do something around. But coming here to this land of mountains and hills and stones, all over stones, let me ask you, you think it's a blessing or a curse to have a lot of stones? Maybe somebody will say, wow, it is curse. Why? Because you want to plant a vineyard, first you have to dig and dig and dig and take all the stones away. But let me tell you, when you look around yourself, you see what a blessing is a stone. Because yes, you are right, you have to dig them up. You have to dig them up. The moment you dig them up, you separated them into different kinds, sizes, weights, then look what you can build. You can build everything that you need. Not like the slaves in Egypt that had to work so hard to prepare the bricks. You have it ready. You can build your homes, your terrace, your steps, your towers, your watching towers, your arches. The material is ready. The stone is there. So we see that stone can be a great blessing. And that's why God says to Moses, I bring you to a good land, land of stones that are like iron. Let us look on this element in front of us and let us see, let us be quiet and try to hear what these stones say. Let us hear this stone. Okay, if you come here by night when it's dark, no sound, you see that this stone is complaining against this one which is on her, this one which is in the side, this one which is in the other side, and hearing all the time the stones down and complaining why you are so heavy. You see, to be a stone in a wall, it's not easy. Always you have one here, one here. Always we have on yourselves one which is maybe too heavy. Now, in order to make them live peacefully, the stones, what does the builder do? Is cutting them and shape them. As more we are shaped, less harm we do to other stones. Now, God called us to be living stones. What is living stone? A stone in a field is a dead stone. Now, it is, look, it has free life. Nobody bothers it. It can lay there for 100 years. But remember, it's a dead stone. Only when a stone is part of a building, it's called a living stone. And in order to put it to be a part of something living, you have to shape it. This is what God is calling us. He's calling us, like we have read, to be living stone, where Jesus is the cornerstone. That's why Jesus had to be shaped, had to be pressed, in order to be example for us. We are just getting his sizes. So, again, if we look on this arch, we see how beautiful it is to be a stone from something which is alive. We just read about a stumbling block. What is a cornerstone? A cornerstone is the stone which has the dimensions which later on you build all the building according to this dimension. If the cornerstone is big like this, the walls that will go from it will be the same size. If it's a small, then also the walls will be small. So it gives the dimensions of later on all the building. Jesus is our cornerstone. Now, in a cornerstone or in stone general, how many faces you see? Up, down, left, right, and then front, back. You see 6 dimensions, right? So how you can choose a stone to be a cornerstone? Let me put my finger here on this stone now, under me. Is it good stone to be a cornerstone? Maybe looking on this face, because I see only one face now. Looking on the upper face, I see all these cracks, all these breaks, and say, this is not a good. I cannot use it as a cornerstone. Even though it has very good shape, right? It's not good. You see why? Because I see only one face of the stone. When the rabbis, the Pharisees, the scribes, when they saw Jesus, they saw one face of Jesus. It was the meek face, the humble face, the broken face. They said, no, this cannot be a cornerstone for us. But you know, if you will go now to this stone and you will dig all the way down and you raise this stone up, it might be that this one will be the best cornerstone in all this hill of Yad Hashmonah. But you see what you have to do? To dig all the directions and to see it from all the different faces. This is one of the things that I feel that our rabbis never did concerning Jesus. Why I admire Jesus? Because I know all his 6 faces. Also this face, but all the others. And I know that he can be a cornerstone. So let us remember, a stone is a blessing when it is a part of a building. We are called to be part of the church. It's much easier to lay in the field alone, but we are dead when we do it. So let us be part of the real building and the real temple of Christ as being living stones. Amen.